Hey guys, still here and welcome back to Wargame. Swanson Harbor. Swanson Harbor Naval variant, I might add, as that is going to be important later. We're following Toribos. Toribos is using Eurocore Armored, and the reason that he picked Eurocore Armored, he said, is that he wanted to go for light tanks, but also still have an option in case the enemy brings in something heavier, and he needs to counter that. Now, of course, it is a tactical, so his income will be limited. That means that that heavy tank that he might be wanting to buy, well, it might just not come in anytime soon because he won't have the income. I gotta like the team's communication, especially at the start of the battle. We got Orc going here, SAS drop from I'm your father. There's going to be another pop-up over here, which is going to say anti-helicopter helicopters, so we know that the SAS drop is probably going to be safe. There it is, Chocolate Voodoo. This is good communication. This is already more communication that you see amongst some other teams. Now, what is he opening up with? Toribos, that is. A couple of AMX 10RCs at Elite. Not particularly heavily armored, but fast. Very mobile units. Decent gun. Can deal with infantry at range. Can deal with transports at range. And if you can sneak them close enough, then they might even be able to kill a tank for you. Being supported by a mortar. He still has his fob, at least at the moment, but that might change. And... hold on, wait. Oh yeah, his CV is going to go left towards Alpha. And he's also going to be spawning in some additional ground forces. He's going to be bringing a couple of Mortar 1A3s with Panzer Grenadiers and another group of assorting transports. Now, I know that I always give people shit by not picking the elite level of infantry. In his case, I get it. If you want to go for an armored deck because you want to go for the light units, then the armored deck makes sense. Any other deck would probably not see these units at Elite. And their stats are only going to get boosted further, of course, by their veterancy level. That means that the infantry is not going to be performing as well. Unfortunately not. 2 CVs landing over here in Charlie. We got the actual command helicopter from Chocolate Voodoo landing. And I think they just got beaten to the punch by the HQ section here, coming out of the Lynx AH-7. Definitely a lot of Red 4 infantry coming towards this town, which is where the Fallschirmjäger have taken position. The AMX 10RCs are also racing there. And not just them, but another Marder 1A2, Marder 1A3s with, I think, Deckungsgruppe and further infantry. So this is going to be quite the fight. And, well, Red 4 infantry versus Blue 4 infantry usually doesn't go too well for Blue 4 infantry. And this time it is not really any exception. Especially when the enemies start bringing in Formosa with the grenade launchers. Now the Fallschirmjäger 90 are elite infantry, really good against enemy infantry, but something like this is, or something like this, the Formosa is quite something to chew, and they just already lost 12 of their guys. The Panzer Grenadier from Toribos also fighting for their lives, and they are also running into Formosa and dying extremely quickly. This is once again one of those reasons why I prefer not to quad stack my infantry, because not one unit of infantry is going to take HE fire from Formosa, but they all are. Now I just try to pull them back. Unfortunately, he gets the Formosa in the way, so instead of just jumping building to building, he has to jump out in the open, and that cost him a couple of Panzer Grenadiers. Sensing weakness here over on the flank, he pushes forward his 113s, trying to support these infantry here, the Fallschirmjäger, and doing damage against the Nostovaki and what seems to be the retreating Formosa. So it might just be that the Fallschirmjäger have this area. In the middle, there's also quite the fight going on, and unfortunately over here too it's not going very well. SASR are dying very quickly, there's very little left of the US Marines. There's another section of Marines which are currently heavily engaged in close quarter fights against the Kartiniekeri. And over here we got all their transports that vomited out this infantry, charging forward and using grenade launchers to take down all sorts of, well, lighter vehicles, including a tank. Command 1 Abrams, as a sort of last-ditch effort, is trying to support the front line, taking out transport after transport and some infantry. And finally a Lynx AH-7 takes out the last bit. This was quite a devastating battle for both sides. Now it seems that over here on the right in Delta, they have taken control of this area. That does not say anything about this area. This town can also be quite a dangerous area. At the very least we know that there's an AA gun in there. which can be murderous if it's supporting infantry that's pushing up from here to there. Fortunately, it doesn't do stellar amounts of damage against transports. Well, if you just throw enough transports at it, it might actually run out of ammo. And as you can see, something is already firing from this building. And something is damaging these transports. And that is the Legion 90. Legion 90 with the Type 81 and their FHJ-84, really lethal to infantry. Not so lethal to transports, because these have a little bit of armor and that's keeping the Legion at bay. In fact, they're being forced back. Mortar 183 is also assisting. Deckungsgruppe not quite in range yet, but if the transports can force them back, then the Deckungsgruppe can move up as well. And in the meanwhile, those two elite light tanks are also assisting here. Now, back to the middle, where the fight is, well, over, in fact. The command infantry is packed up and leaving. I think that this might be the CV that we saw earlier, but I'm not sure. Might be a second command that he had, Chocolate Voodoo. And there we go. This Lynx got out just in time. Fortunately not taking any fire, but those Carbohydrate were right on him. Now, this being the naval variant, there is always somebody who's going to go naval. In this case, we have a Luda and a Jiangyu 3. Wonson Harbor is still one of those weird maps where you could say that the battle is won on the land, but if you don't control the water, then the land battle can be significantly harder. Although, of course, over here, that is not entirely true, because over here, a ship could never go. Unless you're dedicated enough to take a monitor and send it up all the way down river and send it here. But, let's be honest, it's not that likely to make it here. So what we have over here are a couple of units without infantry support. They're trying to take down a couple of Legion 90. But over on the shore, the situation for blue isn't looking very good. That Luda and the Jiangyu are giving close support to whatever's coming out of this Yu-King. Considering that it is elite, I'm not expecting a command unit, but you never know. Might have been that this unit accidentally killed something high value and got away with it. At any rate, if they manage to capture this sector, they can start bringing in units from over here. Not planes, fortunately, but units nonetheless. So they have to maintain control of this sector. The only thing that might currently be doing that is a Hummer transport with some Shaitet 90. Shaitet 13. Which, offloaded from the transport, got detected temporarily and immediately started taking fire from the Jiangyu. It's fortunate that he only took one shot, because these are very, very lethal guns. And I don't think it was even the main gun that took a shot at him. Anyway, back to the middle, where once again, the US Marines are trying to make a stand. Thanks to the LVTP-7s, with their grenade launcher, they are able to more or less hold their position. The SAS is also trying to assist, but is pretty much surrounded here by Red 4 infantry, does not have anywhere to go. And while there are some new units being brought in to assist, it's like both sides are exhausted. Blue has scored 2,000 points, and Red has scored 1,300. But I'm seeing very, very few Blue 4 units on the map. Similarly, there are probably very few Red 4 units on the map. Now, at least we have a CV coming in, thanks to Chocolate Voodoo over here. The Mortar 183 takes out what I think was the last of the Legion 90. And the AMX-10 RC has been pushing up across the bridge. Are these things... No, they're not amphibious. Would be nice if they were. Not amphibious, so he pushed across the bridge, took out a couple of units over here, and is now in control here. Although, in control, he doesn't have any infantry to support him. Anyway, Alpha. Alpha's in trouble. The command vehicle got killed off. Toribos is trying to counter it by sending in his own CV, but in the meanwhile, Red has a bit of time to spawn in new units and open up a second front, which is awfully close to Bravo, and is awfully close to putting a whole lot of pressure on this team from two different sides. And they're already struggling to fight one, let alone a second one. Now, one of the reasons that this team seems to be struggling is that I'm seeing no fewer than 3 players working with artillery units. Doesn't matter, or doesn't mean that they have no other units. They could still have front lines, but 3-car Dom is pretty expensive. 1 Atacams is also pretty expensive, and a Caesar is, again, expensive. On top of that, there's a Tiger Hap, which is an expensive bird. Would be surprised if it's the only one. There might have been another helicopter. The same guy? No, that's Warmaster. Oh! Warmaster, who's also operating the Caesar. So we don't really have much. Fortunately, they have taken control of this area. Chayatet, which were just offloaded, are now facing off against Moleeman 90 and losing badly. At which case, the Moleeman are probably going to go looking for the command vehicle, and it's not very hard to figure out where exactly that is. Now there is a unit over here, which I think is a BTR 90. That is usually not a transport for a command infantry, so it's not really a priority, but the Dorban over here take it out anyway. What do we have here? Another BTR 90. Time for the Dorban to once again move up. And it's the other... No, actually it's the Gazelles that take him out. So, Alpha is neutral. This is, for the moment, a good situation for blue, but it's not going to last. Because there's the Spatsnaz Gru, there goes the command vehicle. And now red has an extra sector. In the middle, there is 1 squad of infantry. Rima 85, that's all. Fortunately, we're making a bit of progress towards Gulf, where a couple of Panzer Grenadiers are eagerly awaiting the arrival of a couple more Chinese units, taking them out, and, well, I don't think even breaking a sweat with that. Pushing on. AMX 10RC is a little low on ammo, only 3 rounds left. Still has a machine gun, but machine guns, well, they're decent at supporting infantry, but aside from that, not really much else. So the situation is pretty dire. Now, I could switch to neutral, but I want to see Tory Boss's kill-death ratio at the end of the game, so I cannot switch to neutral. I cannot see what red has. But seeing as red has invested quite a bit in ships, has lost quite a lot of infantry over here, at least assumedly, has at least 1 player going airborne, the SU-27PU and the MiG, and another player with a 25 PD also air patrolling. I think that red does not have too many units which can go on the offensive either. They do have the Commandosi. Commandosi were thinking of making quick work of the Rima, and unfortunately encountered the Tiger Hap, which then got shot down by the AA unit. So once again, blue's position over here is extremely, extremely shaky. There are some players quitting, both sides actually. The last one was from CH8. And I think Rob the Cat surrendered, but I think everybody else is still in here. Oh, we even got planes going on here. Yep, that's the air patrol. Not exactly sure what they killed, but I did see a blue team blip go down. A couple of Tomcats on air patrol. This is, yeah, it's not great that somebody invested in Tomcats. Maybe they already did that at the start of the battle. But the problem with this is that, once again, there are more points being invested in air power, which does not hold ground territory very well. Especially Tomcats. I mean, air patrol or air control is important, but if you cannot control the ground, then the airplanes have nothing to target, nothing to defend, nowhere to go. SU-25T from Desert Storm comes in, takes 1 missile from the Celtic and thinks the better of it and retreats, at least temporarily. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing's going to try and make another pass, because the Celtic is out of missiles, but the SU-25 is very much not. Unfortunately, probably couldn't acquire it in time. Let's see what it can acquire. Nope. Doesn't. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, there goes the Merkava 2. That was expensive. The fact that red can just... there we go. Can pretty freely send a combat air patrol over Bravo and take down targets is just a symbol about how bad the anti-air defenses over here are. In fact, I wonder if there's any anti-air unit on the whole map. I think there isn't. Blue has 0 anti-air. Short, of course, of those 2 Tomcats that we saw before. And I think it was an F4 that came in and killed it. Now, maybe the Panzer Grenadiers over here and the AMX-10 RC in support can make a difference. If they can wrench control of Golf away from Red 4, then Golf and its 3 points are no longer going to be feeding Red. So maybe they can just last a little longer. Currently the scores are really, really close. 3,000, 2550. And interestingly, the AMX-10 has found a command infantry unit. Now the command infantry doesn't really have anything on the AMX-10. The AMX-10 on the move is just using its machine gun. And now it's stopping using its main gun. He probably didn't even realize what he'd found. There goes 100 points. And if the Panzer Grenadier can find another command unit, and the AMX-10 might be able to snipe it, that would be a lot of progress. And this is sort of where both teams stall. Blue has their infantry, Red probably has their infantry, and nobody's doing much of anything. Except over here, Tory Boss. He's taking down the AA units, pushing in, capturing a fob. He did destroy a command or a logistics unit earlier. I'm going to forgive him for that, since he captured a fob. That makes up for it. And oh look, would be a shame if somebody destroyed that jeep, wouldn't it? The AMX-10RC is on the way. Doesn't have a lot of hit points left, but it does have enough main rounds, and it only needs one. Unfortunately, the Panzer Grenadier are currently not quite in a position to spot it, but they have spotted something else. They are, however, camped out in this building, and there we go. Now they're moving, taking down the command vehicle. I wonder if Red has anything that they're capable of investing in the defense of this area. Because they might be just fresh out of points. Spendable points. Now at this point, the artillery players on the team become very useful and very eager to all try and take down that command unit. As you can see, there's quite a bit of fire coming in, but it's landing all over the place, except at that attack marker. So, leave it to the Panzer Grenadiers to take it down. That's another command vehicle killed, but no cigar. There is another one. Again, taken down. No control. Not even neutral. Where is it? Where is it hiding? Now somebody's saying incoming, so probably they're trying to take down the fob for some reason. And the Panzer Grenadiers find a fourth command vehicle in Golf, finally take it down, and now Golf is neutral. That leaves Red 4 with an incoming route for Foxtrot for land and sea, and an incoming route for land and sea in Alpha. They have lost a critical supply line, which is their air. The Su-25, that got shot down, but there are plenty more aircraft that they just cannot summon at this point. That is... well, I'm not exactly 100% on that. In the campaign, I know that sometimes the game allows you to call in planes via sea routes. But I think you can only call in helicopters in this case, not planes. Otherwise it would just say it also has an air route. So I'm running with the assumption that the enemy team has no way of bringing in air power. The enemy team does have a way of wiping out the Panzer Grenadier in the form of the Legion 90. A couple of gazelles randomly flying over. And I wonder if there's a command vehicle en route. Yes, there is. Your father is sending over a command unit. This is I think, the command unit that was originally capturing the area over here. And got evac'd. Waited patiently at the base. And is now making progress towards this sector. Goodfella surrenders. That's Red. And look at that, the Gazelle also took down a Command and Fox. I think both sides are so exhausted from fighting and have invested in expensive units, which they currently cannot call in, like the planes, and in Blue Force case the artillery, that neither team really has much that they can throw at the other. There are still some skirmishes going on, but they're very, very small. With just a couple of Panzer Grenadiers and their AMX-10 support, trying to take down a Legion. We got one lonely AMX-10 with one missile remaining, trying to hunt down something else. And Red might be making maneuvers over here, trying to get line of sight on whatever command and potentially artillery unit that they have. But then again, the question is, can they take it down? And I think the answer is probably no. Because they don't have any planes, or at least they don't have access to planes. And whatever artillery they might have had was killed when Blue pushed in here. Blue now has control of Gulf. So that leaves just Red with Echo and Alpha. And of course, whatever infantry they still have. And there's the Raving... What's his name? Raving Maniac is pushing forward with the Legion. And once again, the Fallschirmjäger are losing out. HE weaponry, whether it's Formosa or whether it's these guys, it is just devastating to these guys. And you can see how quickly they went down. And they're not quite done yet, because there are more Legion 90. And this is going to get a really, really close fight. 4 of them left. Legion are also running off, because they're panicked. The Fallschirmjäger are worried. That's optimistic. Crossing the road. Jumping into the same building as the Legion, and now the Legion cannot use that napalm launcher. So once again, it's catch chase. Legion jumping away, Fallschirmjäger jumping right after them, and I think they took down 1 squad. There might be 1 more. Yep. And once again, trying to jump away, trying to get that FJHJ-84 on target. Come on, keep chasing. Broken Sword surrenders, that's another Red 4 player. I'm wondering what units he had, considering he only scored 25 points over the whole match. Somebody's being motivated to move his units into Alpha. That's Rangers and Legion. I think they were coordinating. Legion, anti-tank, mostly at range. Rangers, anti-infantry. Unfortunately, this could be a bit of a problem, because that's a King. 60 strength and dual type 61 machine guns mean that the Legion are going to have to pump a whole lot of those anti-tank weapons into that vehicle before it sinks, and it's only 10 points. Anyway, it seems that Blue is now completely pushing all over the map with whatever they can still muster, which is a couple of Fallschirmjäger 90 and AMX 10. I think that is still the same AMX 10. Merle. A couple of Marder 183s with further Deckungsgruppe. And if we can find the command vehicle here, then you deprive Red of almost all of their income. Considering that they still have 3 minutes left according to the replay, I think that we won't be seeing a hunt for ships or hunt for command vehicles, which I think is a good thing. Hunting for those units is usually extremely boring and doesn't really help anybody. Oh, look at that. They didn't even bring in a ground-based CV, they just flew one in. That is ballsy. That is really ballsy. How'd they get away with that? I mean, the sector was pretty empty, but not that empty. There you go. They got it. Command helicopter down. And they have also found the command unit over here. AMX-10 is firing, once again, almost out of ammo, and they took it down. At this point, Blue and Red are definitely far apart in points. 4,655 versus 3,205. Unfortunately, there goes the AMX-10 that did a lot of damage over the course of the battle and over the course of his life. But at this point, Red pretty much knows that, yeah, we're done. I think they might not actually have any ground-based command vehicles left, just the ship. So let's just wrap up and see exactly how much Tory Boss was able to do. And I know he did almost 1,300 damage, of which are probably 6 command vehicles. 4 over here, 1 down there, and 1 over here. So let's see what he got. Tory Boss, 1389, 375 in losses. Red 4. Okay, Rub the Cat left early, and that left Garth to manage all the units that everybody else dumped on him as they were leaving. So seeing this guy with 485 points in kills and 2,000 points in losses is a very, very much skewed result. Raving Maniac made positive. I really like the way that he and I think it was this guy were jumping around with the Legion and the Fallschirmjäger right after them. Broken Sword. What the hell was that? Anyway, let's have a look. Who is the guy here? Merle. Legion 90, Tank Shishu. A whole bunch of AA. 1 command unit. These guys did a lot of work. The Panzer Grenadier. 4 command units. Another command unit over there. And, well, pretty much other was various lower value stuff. I'm not saying extremely low value. Because, for example, these transports do go for, I think, 20, 25 points. Formosa go for 30, 35. PGZ 88s. All decent kills. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. What I found interesting about the replay was that it was so scarce, the amount of units that they had on both teams. Everybody seemed exhausted. Anyway, if you like my replays, then please consider becoming a Patreon supporter. I can really use your support. Link down below in the description. A couple of bucks go a long way. If you have a replay of your own that you think I should see and that the channel should see, then by all means send it in. Link down below in the description. And aside from that, I shall see you guys soon for more videos.